The crack of the rifle echoed through the dense Michigan woods, shattering the crisp autumn silence as I squeezed the trigger. My heart pounded, not from the recoil, but from the words my uncle had just uttered moments before. "Jake, I'm gay." There we were, two men from a small-town family where traditions ran deeper than the roots of these ancient oaks. And suddenly the world tilted on its axis. I lowered the gun, staring at the fallen deer in the distance, its body still twitching. Uncle Mark, my father's older brother, stood beside me, his weathered face pale under the hunting cap. At 45, he looked every bit the rugged outdoorsman our family prided itself on being. Broad shoulders from years of manual labor at the auto plant, calloused hands that could fix anything. But his eyes, usually steady and commanding, now flickered with vulnerability I'd never seen. "Say something, kid," he muttered, his voice barely above the rustle of leaves. "We'd come out here to bond, like we did every fall since I was 12. Now 22, fresh out of community college and working at the same plant. I thought this trip was just another ritual. Beer by the campfire, stories of past hunts, complaints about the economy squeezing our blue-collar lives. But as we hiked deeper into the forest that morning, Mark had grown quiet, his jokes fading into sighs. When we spotted the buck, he hesitated, then dropped the bomb. "I've been hiding it my whole life," he continued, slinging his rifle over his shoulder. "Your grandma, God rest her soul, would have disowned me. And your dad. Hell, he still quotes the Bible like it's the company handbook." I didn't know what to say. Growing up in our conservative corner of Michigan, where church on Sunday was mandatory and anything different was whispered about like a scandal, I'd never questioned the mold we all fit into. Marriage, kids, football, that was the script. Mark had followed it halfway. Married Aunt Linda young, had two cousins my age, but they divorced quietly 5 years back. Everyone chalked it up to irreconcilable differences. But now it clicked. "Why tell me now?" I finally asked, my voice cracking like the branches underfoot. He kicked at the dirt, avoiding my gaze. "Because you're not like the rest of them, Jake. You've got that spark, questioning things, reading those books in college. And if I met someone." His name's Alex. He's a teacher in Detroit. We've been seeing each other for a year, and it's real. But keeping it secret is killing me. The words hung in the air, heavy as the mist rolling in. I thought of our family dinners, the way Dad railed against those liberals ruining the country. How Mark always nodded along. Was this the crack in the facade? We dressed the deer in silence, the metallic tang of blood mixing with the pine scent. Back at the cabin, as we hung the carcass, I couldn't shake the image of Mark alone in his apartment after the divorce, the empty beer cans I'd seen on visits. "Does anyone else know?" I probed, handing him a knife. He shook his head. "Just you. And I need your advice. Should I come out to the family? Thanksgiving's coming up." The question hit like a gut punch. Our family was tight-knit, but fragile under pressure. Dad's heart attack last year had us all on edge, and Mom's unwavering faith meant anything sinful was off-limits. That night, around the fire, Mark opened up more. He talked about high school crushes on boys he buried deep, the pressure to date girls, the wedding that felt like a performance. "I loved Linda in my way," he said, poking the embers. "But it wasn't fair to her. Or me." I listened, my own secrets bubbling up. I dated a guy briefly in college, but ghosted him when it got too real, scared of what Dad would think. Was I a hypocrite? As the flames danced, I realized this wasn't just his story. It was a mirror to my own doubts. The next day we packed up early, the drive home tense. "Promise you'll think about it," Mark said as he dropped me off. I nodded, but inside, turmoil brewed. Tell the family and risk explosion, or keep the secret, letting Mark suffer in silence? Little did I know, this confession was the spark that would ignite conflicts far beyond our hunting trip. Back in town, life resumed its grind. I clocked in at the plant, assembling parts on the line, but my mind wandered to Mark. He texted me photos of Alex, a kind-faced man with glasses, smiling at a school event. "He's good for me," the message read. I replied with a thumbs up, but envy twisted in my gut. Why couldn't I be that brave? Thanksgiving loomed and tension built. Mom called, excited about the turkey and pies. Uncle Mark's bringing his famous stuffing, she said. I wondered if he'd bring more than that. The family gathering at my parents' house was the usual chaos. Kids running around, football blaring on TV, the smell of roasting turkey filling the air. Dad, recovered but still gruff, manned the grill outside, barking orders at my cousins. Mark arrived last, his truck rumbling into the driveway. He hugged everyone, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. As we sat down to eat, the conversation turned predictable. Politics, work woes, complaints about woke culture infiltrating schools. Dad slammed his fist on the table. They're teaching kids all sorts of nonsense now. Back in my day, we knew right from wrong. Mark glanced at me, and I knew it was coming. After dessert, as folks lounged in the living room, he cleared his throat. Family, I have something to say. The room quieted, forks clinking to a stop. I'm gay. I've always been, but I've hidden it. And now, I'm seeing someone. A man named Alex. Silence crashed like a wave. Mom's face drained of color, her pie plate slipping from her hands. Dad's jaw tightened, veins bulging. What the hell are you talking about? He growled. The eruption was swift. Dad stood, pointing a finger. This is a joke, right? You're my brother. We grew up together. You can't just change like that. Mark stayed calm. It's not a change, Tom. It's who I am. My cousins exchanged shocked whispers, while Aunt Linda, invited out of habit, looked relieved yet hurt. I suspected, she admitted quietly. But you never said. The room divided. Mom quoted scripture, tears streaming, begging Mark to pray it away. Dad stormed out, slamming the door. I sat frozen, my secret burning inside. Later, in the kitchen, I cornered Mark. You did it. How do you feel? He sighed, rubbing his temples. Free but terrified. Your dad's reaction. I expected it, but it still hurts. We talked late into the night, him sharing stories of stolen moments with Alex, weekend drives, quiet dinners. He's patient, Mark said. Wants to meet the family someday. I confessed my own fling, and he hugged me. You're not alone, Jake. But the fallout spread. Dad refused to speak to Mark, canceling their weekly fishing plans. At work, rumors swirled. Someone overheard, and suddenly stares followed me down the assembly line. Your uncle's one of them? A coworker sneered. I defended him, but it cost me. Invitations to barbecues dried up, friendships cooled. Society's underbelly showed. Our town's conservative core, where church and community intertwined, viewed us as threats. I met Alex a week later, at a neutral coffee shop in Detroit. He was warm, intellectual, discussing books and education with passion. Mark talks about you a lot, he said. Says you're the future of the family. We bonded over shared interests, but guilt gnawed. Was I ready to face my own truth? Christmas approached, and the divide deepened. Mom organized a family intervention, inviting the pastor. We love you, Mark, but this lifestyle, she pleaded. Mark attended, but stood firm. It's not a lifestyle, it's my life. Arguments flew, about sin, choice, nature versus nurture. Dad accused Mark of recruiting me, eyeing my single status suspiciously. Don't let him poison you, son. The session ended in tears, no resolution. In the new year, Mark moved in with Alex, leaving our town for the city. It's better this way, he texted. But isolation hit hard. Family events felt hollow without him. I visited often, finding solace in their home. Bookshelves, art, a warmth our house lacked. Alex became a mentor, encouraging me to explore my identity. Society's changing, Jake. But change starts with us. Yet back home, pressure mounted. Dad cornered me one evening. You know something about this, don't you? You've been distant. I denied, but lies weighed heavy. The conflict tore at me, loyalty to family versus truth. As spring bloomed, a bigger storm brewed. A community event where old prejudices surfaced, forcing choices. Summer brought the annual town fair, a staple of our Michigan life, rides, games, barbecues under string lights. But this year it became a battleground. Mark and Alex decided to attend, a bold move to show normalcy. "We're not hiding," Mark said over the phone. I agreed to meet them there, nerves jangling. The fairgrounds buzzed with families, the air thick with popcorn and cotton candy. I spotted them by the Ferris wheel, Mark in a casual shirt, Alex holding his hand tentatively. Heads turned, whispers spread like wildfire. Old friends approached, some polite, others hostile. "Didn't expect to see you here," one said to Mark, eyes narrowing. "With him." Mark introduced Alex proudly, but tension crackled. Dad was there too, manning a grill for the veterans booth. When he saw them, his face reddened. "What are you doing here?" he hissed, pulling Mark aside. "Parading this in front of everyone?" The argument escalated, drawing a crowd. "You're embarrassing the family," Dad shouted. Alex stepped in calmly. "We're just here to enjoy the day, like anyone else." But words turned ugly. Slurs from bystanders, echoes of societal bias. I intervened, standing between them. "Enough, Dad. He's your brother." The scene made local news, a small blurb about family tensions at the fair. Online comments poured in. Support from progressives, vitriol from conservatives. Our town split, church groups organized prayers for lost souls, while a LGBTQ plus ally group from Detroit reached out. Mark became a reluctant symbol, his story debated in coffee shops and social media. I faced my own reckoning. A coworker confronted me at the plant. "You okay with your uncle's choice? It's unnatural." I snapped back. "It's not a choice, and he's family." The exchange cost me shifts but gained allies. A few quiet supporters shared their stories. One, a line supervisor, confessed his son was gay. "We keep it quiet, but it's hard." Visiting Mark more, I saw their relationship thrive amid chaos. They hosted dinners, discussed future marriage, perhaps adoption. "Society's evolving," Alex said, "but not without pushback." I opened up about my college experience, admitting attraction to men. "Explore it," Mark urged. "Don't wait like I did." But home life deteriorated. Mom stopped inviting Mark to events, Dad's silence deafening. At a family barbecue, absence loomed. Cousins asked questions. "Why isn't Uncle Mark here?" I explained gently, sparking debates among the younger generation. My sister, progressive from college, supported. My brother, traditional, wavered. Generational clashes emerged, old values versus new realities. A turning point came when Dad suffered a minor health scare, landing in the hospital. Mark rushed over despite the rift. In the waiting room, emotions boiled. "I still love you, Tom," Mark said. Dad grumbled, but accepted his presence. "Don't think this changes anything." Yet, in vulnerability, cracks showed. Dad admitted fear of losing family. "The world's changing too fast." Post-hospital, tentative talks began. Mom suggested therapy, but Dad resisted. I mediated, sharing articles on acceptance, stories of other families. "It's not about politics. It's about us." Slowly, understanding dawned, but prejudices lingered. As fall neared, another hunting trip loomed, but without Mark. I declined, choosing a weekend with him instead. "Let's make our own traditions," I said. The choice alienated Dad further, but solidified my path. Conflicts raged, but growth flickered. Winter's chill mirrored the family's frost. Christmas passed awkwardly, gifts exchanged via mail. Mark sent a card with a photo of him and Alex by a tree, happy, unapologetic. Dad tossed it aside. His choice, but I displayed mine proudly, sparking another argument. "You're taking sides, Jake." I stood firm. "No, Dad. I'm choosing love over hate." Work became a microcosm of societal divides. A diversity training session ignited debates. Some embraced, others mocked. I spoke up, sharing Mark's story anonymously. "It's about people, not politics." Backlash followed. Anonymous notes in my locker, fag lover. But support grew too. A union rep organized a support group. Mark faced his own trials. At Alex's school, parents complained after spotting them together. Inappropriate influence, they claimed. Alex fought back with union backing, highlighting discrimination. The case made headlines, drawing national attention. Protests formed for and against. Mark stood by him, testifying at a board meeting. Love isn't a threat. The victory was partial. Alex kept his job, but scrutiny lingered. I delved deeper into my identity, dating a guy named Chris from online. We met in Detroit, away from prying eyes. Chris, open and confident, challenged me. Why hide? Own it. Our relationship blossomed, movies, hikes, honest talks. But secrecy strained. Lying to family, dodging questions. A family crisis forced confrontation. Grandma's old house needed selling, bringing everyone together. Tensions flared over decisions. Dad accused Mark of abandoning roots. Mark retorted, roots that choked me. I revealed my dating Chris, stunning the room. I'm bi or whatever, but I'm me. Mom cried. Dad stormed out again. But my sister hugged me. Proud of you. The sale proceeded amid debates about inheritance, values. Old letters surfaced. Grandma's correspondence hinting at Mark's struggles. Pray for him, one read. Dehumanized the past, showing generational pain. Spring brought renewal. Dad, prodded by Mom, attended a PFLAG meeting reluctantly. For you kids, he grumbled. Stories there softened him, parents sharing regrets. Back home, he called Mark. We need to talk. The conversation was halting, but a start. I don't understand, but you're my brother. I introduced Chris to Mark and Alex first, easy, accepting, then cautiously to the family. Dinner was tense. Questions, awkward silences. Dad asked about Chris's job, a neutral ground. Mom baked extra pie. Progress inch by inch. But society pushed back. A local election heated up, with anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. Our family became examples in debates. Some praised our evolution, others condemned. Mark spoke at a rally, advocating acceptance. Family isn't blood, it's choice. I joined, finding voice. As summer returned, the fair approached again. This time we attended as a unit, tentative but together. Whispers persisted, but solidarity shone. Dad even shook Alex's hand. Welcome, not perfect but real. The second fair marked a milestone. Laughter mixed with lingering unease, but bonds mended. Mark and Alex held hands openly. Dad averted eyes but didn't comment. Kids played, oblivious. This is progress, Mom whispered to me. I nodded, Chris by my side. Back to routine but changed. Work inclusivity improved. Policies updated after complaints. I advanced, confidence boosted. Mark and Alex planned a commitment ceremony, inviting all. Dad RSVP'd yes, a huge step. The event was intimate. Vows exchanged in a garden, tears and toasts. To chosen family, Mark said. Dad raised a glass silently. Yet, challenges remained. Societal shifts were uneven, laws protected but hearts lagged. A cousin distanced himself, echoing old prejudices. Debates continued. At dinners online. Is it nature or nurture? One asked. We shared science, stories urging empathy. My relationship with Chris deepened, moving in together. Family visits grew frequent, acceptance building. Dad fished with Mark again, talks turning personal. I was scared, Dad admitted, of change. Mark forgave. We all were. Reflecting on that hunting trip, it was the catalyst. A truth bullet-piercing illusions. Conflicts arose. Family rifts, societal scorn, internal battles. But through choices to speak, listen, love, healing followed. Logic held. Hiding erodes, truth liberates. Emotions surged, fear to hope. Years on, our story inspired others in town. A support group formed, youth finding courage. But questions lingered. Did we push too hard? Or not enough? Is it always right to come out, even if it risks family bonds?